Welcome to the Free Play Arcade Podcast. It's Chris Delp, your community liaison with you. I am being joined by Arthur, another community liaison.
Hello!
There's so many of us. Emily, possibly, is she a community liaison as well?
I think Emily is a community liaison, but I'm not 100% sure on that. This, however, is not Emily.
No.
Welcome, not Emily. Would you please introduce yourself, even though you've been on the podcast like 3 times?
My name is not Emily. No, I'm kidding. My name is Stephanie. I'm the admin assistant here, and I help out with miscellaneous things.
Yes. I play video games with you in them all the time.
Yes.
Yes, I do. So we are here talking amongst ourselves without Corey because Corey is busy putting the finishing touches on Free Play Fort Worth. And they really didn't give us many instructions. They're just do a podcast. We're gone. You minions take care of it all. So
we can probably think of something to run our mouths on, and what better at that than things that we don't like.
But before we get into that, let me just state something real quick. This is not the opinion of Free Play, the opinions we're about to discuss. This is our own individual opinions, so please don't say, well, Free Play said they hated this game. No. This is just us as an individual. So if Chris, me, Arthur all say, we're not really a fan of this game, Free Play may like it. I may like it. You may like it.
I am willing to bet that most of the games that I don't like are actually games that people do like and are good games, and that I am wrong.
Well, so the way I feel about it is I want people to play all the games. And that is my job, is to facilitate that.
And I want people to play the games and make their own opinions on them and figure out that you really like game that I don't like and that I'm wrong.
Those are some of my favorite games to play. The ones that are controversial are split 50-50, this is a masterpiece. And others are like, this is the worst game ever made. And I was like, I want to play this so I know where I stand on this issue.
And a lot of times I can see both sides of it. I know I don't have to really close my eyes hard to know what Arthur's going to say is his least favorite game.
You're going to be surprised, I think.
Maybe.
But, I know what you're going to say. You've already was ranting about it yesterday.
I can't stop ranting about it. Corey's not here. Let's just trash all of his games, shall we?
Let's go.
Arthur, what you got for us?
All right, first and foremost, just thinking about it, there's the obvious choices of various games I don't like, but I have to go with any pinball game that I can't get done with in under 20 minutes.
Really? Nice.
I really like playing pinball. I really hate walking away from something in progress. I don't have enough time to play Iron Maiden, right? I don't have enough time to play most of the pinball games. Like Lord of the Rings, I'd love to play more of that, but I'll get halfway through one ball and then have to do some actual work. And that really, really annoys me. I mean,
I like that game because it's user-friendly for noobs like me.
Sure, but it is. You can't lose the ball.
Total Nuclear Annihilation is probably my favorite pinball game because I can play that full game, 5 minutes. I'm not very good.
There's no shame in that. As long as you are enjoying it, that's
I'm having
the
a
whole
great
point.
time, and I'm definitely having a better time because the game ends when it's time for me to get back to something. So frequently I'll enjoy the 90s pinball games. Bride of Pinbot I've played a bunch of lately. What else? Just pinball games I'm going to play through quicker. I like pinball games I'm going to play for a long time. Don't much care for because I don't have time to enjoy them.
Fair enough.
And I feel you there. It's interesting that you have Iron Maiden on that list. Those games go a long time for you?
That's probably the pinball game that I've played the most. We had one right when it came out of Versus Gameplay when Collin Creek Mall was on the way out. So I'm like, I'm going to play Iron Maiden. And I got to where I could do all the shots, and I could, on that particular one, it played a little bit differently from ours. I would say that ours is probably just more worn than the brand new, I'm the only one playing it most afternoons, Iron Maiden.
What I have noticed going to the arcade, sometimes I'll bring my family up there on Saturdays, and little man absolutely loves to play with the pinball machines, and I mean all of them. He doesn't know how to play.
That's great.
He's a toddler. He doesn't know what he's doing.
That. I love that he likes to play them, though.
Exactly. But the thing I have noticed is that there are certain pinball games that I see abandoned frequently because I hate things that are left unfinished, so I'll purposely shoot the ball out and move on to a different game so somebody else can play. And I do see Iron Maiden left a lot.
Well, one of the problems with that is also someone might have hit the start button 4 times and they have 16 balls to sink and don't realize it.
Right. Yeah, that's the most frequent
son. You're
occurrence.
listening, right? Yeah, you probably are, aren't you?
If you walk up on that, though, and you're past ball 2, just hold the start button. In almost all cases, it will reset the game to player 1, ball 1.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so you can clear it out with a soft reset without actually turning the machine off and on again. I actually like Iron Maiden.
I think it's a great pinball table.
But I will say...
it's beautiful looking, that's for sure.
It's just time-consuming.
Yeah, I share your problems with tables that go on and on and on forever. Lord of the Rings, in fact, is one that I just can't play. Like I play 2 balls and 30 minutes later I'm done.
I had a game of Lord of the Rings one night after we were done with everything that literally lasted an hour, and I almost never have time to sit there for an hour playing one game.
Yeah, and there was starting with Twilight Zone, I would say, there was a revolution in 90s pinball, early 90s, where they sort of understood like making missions, incorporating the LED lights on the back, different modes that you could unlock. It wasn't just one static table where you earned the multi-ball, locked the balls, and then played the multi-ball for jackpot. Instead, you're doing this mission and that mission, and it all leads into a wizard mode. Medieval Madness in the later 90s kind of really crystallized on that. But those early 90s machines, 92, I believe, is when Addams Family came out. But Creature from the Black Lagoon falls into this category. Tales from the Crypt we have. They end up having missions, and then you're at the wizard mode, and then you're done with the game, and then you start back over again, and it just goes into infinity. A lot of times you get extra balls. A lot of times the middle shot, which is probably why your Iron Maiden games go on for so long. The middle shot, the middle shooting it right up into the center, is always encouraged in every pinball game because that's the most dangerous shot. Except some of those 90s tables, for example, Addams Family. Takes it away because you're shooting a ramp in the middle and it goes around and it safely deposits it back in front of your flipper every time.
Iron Maiden, it goes up, it hits the Pharaoh target, then it loops around twice, then it comes back down at the side.
Exactly, yeah. Taking the danger away. Creature from the Black Lagoon. A table that I very much like, although I will tell you, it goes on too long. You hit that center shot, it goes, whoa, and then it throws it onto the side, much like Iron Maiden does.
How'd that go again? Whoa!
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I feel you there. Stephanie, what do you have any that are your not as favorite games?
I'll have a little bit more vitriol for my next pass.
I'm going straight for the fire when you bring it over here.
Oh, you already know which one you're going to attack.
I got plenty.
Which, one of them, I will actually agree with you on this one. But in general, what I view as not a really good game is it difficult to approach if you're a brand new player and don't know what you're doing?
Yes.
I'm all about ease of easily picking up the controls.
Intuitiveness,
Can I understand
accessibility.
what's going on? Yeah, because I like to learn things quickly and move on, and that's how I end up loving the games that I do. Like, I love Ladybug, for example, because it was easy to pick up on. Now, the game's super, super hard, but the concept of it is easy.
Right, yeah. Arcade games should be easy to pick up, hard to put down, as a general rule.
Yes, agreed. So, one game is a game I really want to like, but every single time I try to play it, it's just way too difficult. And I know you'll agree with me on this one, is Killer Instinct, for example.
There's all my fire right there. Well, then we are in lockstep.
Yeah, I approached it one day at the arcade, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go walk away now. I feel defeated and deflated, and there are so many better fighting games. And I'm not even a good fighting game player, but I'm like, what am I doing here?
Let me back up a little bit and tell you about my day today. Corey's gone. He's at Fort Worth, and so we are banking as many podcasts and Game of the Weeks and whatnot as we can. So my entire day yesterday was just sort of mapping out today. Mm-hmm. How am I going to do 2 Game of the Weeks tomorrow? And I didn't know it, right? So I'm walking through the arcade. I'm going through games that I can play, that I know something about. I have some general rules to myself. I know Corey very much loves the Golden Age games, so I have a feeling that he's both done a lot of the Golden Age games.
Probably so.
And even if he hasn't done one, I don't want to take it from him because this is his toy. So, like, I'm leaving those for him. I'm looking at those mid-90s games and seeing which one of those can I pick. And I saunter up to Killer Instinct, and I think that's got a great soundtrack, which, by the way, Killer Instinct has a phenomenal soundtrack.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It has
It's amazing.
really good graphics for the time.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they even hold up in that you can look at what they are and know what they are.
Yeah,
right.
no.
So they hold up in that manner.
KI is a pretty good looking game.
So it's got good elements, and I was like, Killer Instinct, I can do this. So I stood up, I hit start. I know how to play that game. I've won money in tournaments in that game. So I started playing. Within 90 seconds, I was infuriated with how bad this game is. Like, infuriated, incensed, knowing that I could not, with a straight face, give you a positive video on it because it is so bad on so many levels. So this entire podcast, for me and personally, is dedicated to how bad Chris Delp feels, and not necessarily Free Play Arcade, which you can play it right now in Free Play Richardson and defy me and find out that it's the greatest game ever. But I think that game is atrocious for a ton of reasons, and one of which is one you brought up. That game hates noobs. It has a combo system that's not a combo system that Arthur can get into why it's not a combo system later. But it has a combo system that works in which you start a special move, you connect the special move, and you start pressing buttons in a long-mannered way, and then 36 hits later, and all of your opponent's life bar later, they're done. Noob is squashed. Noob never actually got to play anything. Noob never really figured out what to do. You maybe had a chance to do a combo breaker, but that involves a special move, which you haven't learned what that is either. So you never even got a chance to play the game in the worst possible way. You didn't even get to see something cool because that wasn't a real combo. Arthur, would you like to explain why it's not a combo?
Well, I would, except for the fact that you left out the important part of, let's say you walk up to this game on your own, right? And
Like what I did.
there's no one playing it, right? So you're going to play against the CPU. It doesn't matter what the difficulty is set at. The CPU doesn't play like a human, doesn't play like someone fun to
Correct.
beat. It's just going to do stuff.
It doesn't like you,
And
essentially.
let's say you try to do a combo, nope, broken. And let's say you try to do anything, it's just going to do the counter for it. It's going to button read your input, and it's going to blast you for it, and it's just a not fun experience fighting against the computer.
I would say that is typical of a lot of 2D fighters. Technically, Killer Instinct is a 3D fighter, but a lot of fighters do have kind of broken AIs that don't make the game nearly as fun, not as good to play against single player. Fighting games are really meant to play with your friend who's about the same skill level and enjoy it together.
Yes, but I feel like you should get past the first stage
I
no
agree.
matter who you
Agreed.
are.
Like, I can walk up to... I'm a terrible fighting game player, I'll just say that right now. But I could go up to, like, Super Turbo, for example, and actually, like, maybe beat the first person.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're
Actually,
probably
by the way, I will
you're probably
beat the
getting to
first
stage 3. It's Chun-Li, and she's going to wreck you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the arcade's got to
But-
make the money somehow.
At that point, you've at least learned, like, okay, there's the kick button.
There's
the
buttons.
punch button. There's the light kick button.
This
Here's
is what
the hard
stars
kick
mean.
button. Exactly.
Yeah, it's intuitive. It's
at
easy
that
to pick up.
point-
It's hard to put down.
Yeah, so you may not be good at the game yet, but you understand the basic controls, what the game is about. Maybe mess around with a couple of characters, see who you like. Killer Instinct, I don't feel like you have the time to figure out what character you like because you're dead.
Well, having just played it, I can tell you why it makes it so much worse than a normal fighting game. Mortal Kombat 2 has a terrible AI that does the same thing. It reads your inputs. Honestly, Super Turbo reads your inputs and reacts accordingly and does things that involve cheating.
But I feel like
mean,
it
a lot
waits
of-
until you get past, like, the first person at least.
The AI on KI cannot help itself. It cannot help itself because there is a strange fact about all the moves in Killer Instinct.
They're all unsafe.
They are all unsafe, which
Yes.
means if you try a move, the computer then punishes you by retaliating with a combo that is now unblockable because you dared to try a move. If you do not try a move, the computer walks up to you and then reads your inputs and does the move that counters whatever you're doing right now. You're holding down back, we're going to go overhead. You're holding back, we're going to go low. We're going to throw. Whatever it is that beats you, it walks up to you and
not
does.
throw in KI1, which
True.
brings me to one of the problems with the game. It feels to me like Killer Instinct was designed by people that nebulously liked fighting games, but actually hated fighting games. They liked the idea of it, they liked the concept, but they did not like how they played.
I need to throw the shade directly at them. I mean, they made the game. It is Rare, a very well thought of studio in England that got gobbled up by Microsoft at the advent of the Xbox. It was made as a partnership with Rare and Nintendo. Yeah, they did an awful job with this one, in my opinion, alone. I know Josh Featherstone, whom we conveniently threw out of the room to start this podcast, actually very much likes this game.
Is that why he left?
There's a lot of people who like the game, and honestly, I see why you would like the game. Again, incredible soundtrack. And
Sure.
not only is it an incredible soundtrack, it's a metal soundtrack, which I don't recall.
Unheard of at that time.
Yeah, never
very.
recall hearing metal in a game before Killer Instinct. The theme song is flat out iconic. I certainly
still have the CD that came with the SNES version, Killer Cuts.
Nice.
The SNES version, in fact, is a pretty good port for a console port in the 90s.
Yeah, it plays like the arcade game. It doesn't look like it much more than you would expect, but it plays like it.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so that pretty much concludes why I don't like Killer Instinct. Except it doesn't even get on the surface of why I don't like Killer
I
Instinct.
could probably drone on about that for a half hour.
Yeah, so and I am planning on it. Here
let's
we
have
go.
a KI podcast another time.
Oh,
No.
Today?
You are not getting me off this one.
All right.
This game is hella racist.
Oh, it is. It is
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me
Are
wrong.
we still on Killer Instinct or
Yes,
Denton?
we are.
It is
Okay.
racist.
Because I was about
Yes.
to say that could be a lot of games.
It can be a lot of games. There are a lot of racial stereotypes in a lot of video games. It makes me cringe sometimes. It's the reason you won't see me dressing up as my favorite character in Street Fighter 2, Dhalsim, because he has skulls on it, a skull necklace,
Yeah.
some paint. He's got some things. Basically, he's Mullah Ram from Temple of Doom. Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Not the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
But, all
Don't be
put
fooled.
together on a white guy. I'm not going blackface. I'm not painting myself.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
not
ever
putting
do blackface.
skulls on it. I'm not
Never go
doubling and
blackface.
tripling down on that. Problematic. Racist, probably. But you know what? Racist. Going with it. Killer Instinct has the most racist character I have ever seen. Google Killer Instinct Arcade Chief Thunder, and you are going to see a doozy.
Oh, I have heard of this Chief Thunder.
So
Let's
here we
see.
are. He's can't full screen this bad boy, but he is a Native American, and he is every Native American stereotype smashed into one. I remember playing Cowboys and Indians when I was maybe 5 years old in small town Louisiana, and we didn't know what we were doing. And somebody would run around shooting fake pistols into the air, and the other one would sort of, do one of these.
Yeah, like you do when you're a kid.
Yes, sitting Indian style. Oh, he does that. That's literally, he's chanting. He's got his war drums in the background. He has soulless black eyes. He has a mohawk, moccasins, eagles, everything.
I feel like a British person should have been a little bit more racially sensitive in the mid-90s to this. And Chief Thunder is horrible. That's not to say that there aren't other Native American representations throughout video games, but none are as bad as him.
Yeah, the eyes really kill me. He's got black eyes. Like he has there are no pupils. It's just saying, hey, this guy is not human. And I'm abhorred by it. I remember not ever thinking about this when I was a kid. Never did I even consider it. And in fact, I was just, when it came out, I'm only a few years removed from my schoolyard play, which I might regret. But hey, I was 5 and I didn't understand the difference.
Right.
I remember playing this for the said cash tournament that I won money on, and getting approached by somebody with a long Native American dual ponytails, very nicely dressed, and here I am playing against Chief Thunder, and I literally wanted to apologize to him that I'm even touching this game. Yeah, that's bad.
A little bit.
The also sexist. There are plenty of sexist games.
Oh, we could go on for probably 10 podcasts about sexist games.
Yes.
But we're not going to get into that right now.
Right.
At least not all of them.
Orchid. What is Orchid? How would you describe Orchid, Arthur?
Well, she's a character that everyone remembers because she flashes your opponent and their eyes pop out of their skull like Roger Rabbit style.
Yeah, her character design is basically she's Jennifer Lopez, the Fly Girl iteration of Jennifer Lopez, who initially got to fame as part of In Living Color. She very, very much resembles that. She's an Interpol agent or whatever. She's got a fake Chun-Li-esque backstory. She's clearly a stripper to the fact that she has a pole that she fights with and dances along. She smacks her own butt. She flashes the other competitor. She literally strips for the competitor, and that's her finishing move.
Or she can turn you into a frog, which is, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I think that's supposed to be a play off of
that's just
Princess kissing a frog, but backwards.
No, that's a play off.
It's dumb, and no one ever did that anyway because she can flash you.
Yes, she can flash you in the middle of a combo. She has... The frog is an animality reference, which comes to another point about Killer Instinct is even when you get past all of this nonsense, right? It's just straight up a ripoff of Mortal Kombat, which you can like or not like Mortal Kombat, and we may hear about that later, but like...
There's a chance.
Even at its best, it's just ripping off another game, and in a very soulless way. Man, I hate Killer Instinct. It's at free play. Free play doesn't hate Killer Instinct, but Chris Delp, you can put it on the books. This game is garbage, and anytime I'm playing it, I don't like it. It does have some benign qualities, like there's a fire guy named Cinder, and he looks like a guy on fire. And
there's an ice guy named Glacius that is the T-1000.
Right.
And there is a robot guy named Fulgore that is the T-800.
Right. It's very Terminator. It's very generic when it's not being racist or sexist.
Do you know what was another cool movie from the 90s that I liked a lot? Jurassic Park.
Hey, is there a raptor in this game?
Yes.
Yes. Is his name Raptor?
Close. It's Riptor.
How original and not at all copyright infringement.
What would you think about a skeleton that wore a headband? Is that a good character design? He's got a headband. That gives him a lot of personality, right? The headband?
I believe that's every other character in Ghosts and Goblins, right?
So you're saying that it doesn't have a lot of personality? But he's got a headband. He goes jogging when he's not being a skeleton that stabs people.
Oh my goodness. We may get back and circle back around to how bad KI is to end this bad boy.
Talk about the combo engine too, but...
Oh my goodness. That's inside baseball, right? That's being a good fighting game. Like, as a fighting game, it's also bad. So
I started a thing, apparently.
KI2, briefly... They learned a lot from the lessons of KI1. For starters, they made the game because throws are cheap. I don't like throws in my game. Well, people complain because how do I stop blocking? So they threw in throws. Also, I want to do my special moves. How come I can't do any of my special moves? All the special moves are death on block. Well, now they made in KI2, there are throws so you can stop someone from blocking. And special moves are safe. All of them, including invincible uppercuts. So the game becomes uppercut chicken.
Uppercut.
Like whoever uppercuts later is going to use their invincibility to blow through the other guy's invincibility. But you got to uppercut because they can throw you. So really the game is just uppercuts. It is like...
Uppercut the game.
Are you telling me KI2 is worse than KI1 or...
No, there's a game there, whereas KI1 I think there actually isn't.
Right.
But it's a bad game.
Yeah, KI2 I can... barely tolerate. KI1. If I never play that game again, I'm good.
They had the common decency to remove Chief Thunder from KI2, so I will give them credit for that. Thank you.
That's good.
And they continue to make Killer Instinct games even today. And I am not speaking towards Killer Instinct of the modern day.
I actually like the modern Killer Instinct. It's not my favorite fighting game, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on in that game.
And
so give it a shot if you like fighting.
And I personally have no opinion on the modern Killer Instinct. I haven't played it once. I've seen some streams. It looks like a fighting game to me. They have renamed Chief Thunder, and I think they've tried to tone down his...
They did, I would say. Today, rather than being a gross caricature of all things Native American, he is a Native American that fights, but still a little bit too much.
Oh, man. There's still TJ Combo, too. It's
Apollo Creed?
Oh, well, he's Apollo Creed complying with Clubber Lang that raps and, yeah.
And shoots you with the guns hidden in his boxing gloves. So
Man, let's move on. Do we have any other games that are not our favorites that we want to go to?
these are never on the floor, but I hate Street Fighter 2, the slow Street Fighter 2s.
Oh, well, World Warrior.
World Warrior, Champion Edition, and Super are just not fun to play, even though I have weird nostalgia for Champion Edition and kind of like it. There was a tournament in 1992 that I won by mashing on low forward with Guile until they jump at me, which they get hit with the flash kick.
All right, then.
And that was, if they were throwing fireballs, and I throw a Sonic Boom and then do a back fist. And sorry.
You didn't hit me, you're fine.
I know I didn't, but it's weird still.
I do feel like also I should give the caveat that like I don't think that KI is the worst game ever made. It's more, you know, getting exposed to it. Yeah, I do hate it also, but like it's there are some games that are absolutely atrocious that I do have fun reveling in. And I think I don't know anybody who wants to defend Time Killers by Incredible Technologies, I believe, that put that out, makers of Golden Tee. That game is laughably awful, and we had a ton of fun playing it.
Well,
it's so bad, I won't say good, but we had a good time playing it.
We had a World Heroes 1 tournament. It couldn't have been that long ago, maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah, that
game
atrocious.
Is awful. Just an awful game. Great time playing it.
So
one
much
night
fun.
only. Do not want to play it again.
And you know what? Simple to play. And takes a while to figure out. Like it sucks you in. It's terrible. You're like, this is all jank, but I know what I'm doing, and
By
I'm
the end
having
of the
fun.
night, we were doing some stuff and having a good time. Dylan won the tournament, and I am perfectly happy to not play the game again for the year.
Same thing about Time Killers. I had the same issue. Like you hit all 5 buttons, you do a fatality in the first second. That happened to Michael Beltran. That's a legend.
Nice.
And yeah, it just goes on for there. So like there are games that are, you know, worse, but all in all, I just want to smack Killer Instinct right in the face.
But yeah, slow fighting games are kind of bad.
World Heroes being one of them also.
Yes.
Yeah.
But games that I legitimately hate, like irredeemably hate, Primal Rage. Like, I think that game is miserable. There is nothing to enjoy about that game. It is awful. I hate it. I want to smash it with a hammer.
So why do you hate it?
Why do you hate it?
Well, it plays poorly. Like, nebulously, I'd like to beat people up with a dinosaur. I think that's kind of an interesting idea, right? The graphics are designed to look like the...
Harry,
Jason Argonauts
I got you.
Thanks. Guy that directed some cool movies that I like.
He's looking it up.
Yeah, he is.
It's all good.
The way the game plays, though, nothing is where it looks like, and you can't trust your eyes on anything, and it feels to me like the play control is the worst thing I've ever seen. To do special moves, you would press a button, hold it, do the motion, let go of the button, and it comes out. And it is just... That's a backwards way to go about it. So you're constantly having to hide the input to your moves sometimes, and just... I don't know. There's just nothing about that game do I like.
Yeah, I remember I turned you on to this, at least aspect of Primal Rage a while back. It's actually an homage to the special effects of Ray Harryhausen.
Ray Harryhausen, yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at some... He did the original effects for King Kong. King Kong? Yeah, not Donkey Kong. That wasn't the classic movie. But King Kong, he did the skeletons for Jason and the Argonauts. He did
Titans.
a lot of the classic monsters and monster movies, skeleton movies. He did dinosaurs. So it is definitely an homage to his special effects. There you go. It's a very Primal Rage looking scene we're watching here. So it is an homage to that. So at least it has something going for it. But yeah, it is a bit of another cash grab at Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and
this one by Atari, I want to say.
Or Midway, or...
No, Midway had Mortal Kombat,
it was
so
Atari. It was Atari proper, yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. All moves were done by negative edging, so you let go of the button instead of pressing the button. Really awkward. Not a good balanced game either.
And meanwhile, they have weird 90s gross out attempts at like burping and farting and peeing on people.
Correct. Yeah, those are the special moves. It's very, very in-your-face crass. You're going to know if you're going to like this game by, does that appeal to you? Like, do you want to urinate on your opponent at the end of a match? You can in Primal Rage. If that's going to turn you off, then you shouldn't play Primal Rage. If you're going to revel in it, then you're going to have a hard time doing the negative edge moves, and the game isn't going to be coherent when you actually play the fighting parts. But, it in that way, it will be your game. So, Ray, this game's for you. I will see you this Tuesday at Free Play Arlington, where we do Tuesday night fights on Primal Rage. Why'd you request this, by the way? You did.
Because I think it's important to play games you don't like occasionally for these sort of things.
Yeah, and we've done Killer Instinct recently for Tuesday Night Fights as well.
Also, Mortal Kombat 3 not too long ago, another one of the games I don't much care for.
Yeah.
And World Heroes, part of the fun of these tournaments that we have on Tuesdays is not always playing the game that you're gonna win, not always playing your favorite game, not even always playing a game that you like, just hanging out and trying a new game. And I think
with
that's
your friends,
important.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I look forward to the crazy antics of Ray. I don't want smell-o-visions. Yeah, I don't want the table flips.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I hope he can watch himself a little bit on the microphone. We'll see. But Primal Rage was coming this Tuesday, like it or not, and we either kind of are indifferent or don't.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Have you played this game?
No, I haven't.
It's a dinosaur fighting game.
Oh, sign me up.
I'll lend you my 32X copy.
Or
I'm good.
you could watch this Ray Harryhausen tribute on YouTube, and
You'll have a better time. That was a great tribute.
I'll go to Free Play Richardson and play my Sailor Moon beat 'em up.
Oh, that's a fun game.
That's a good game. That is a game that will not be on any of our lists.
I know, because it's fun.
It's quite good. Quite good.
What else do you hate, though, Stephanie?
Any game that is super hard to approach, and I might make a lot of people angry by saying this, but Baby Pac-Man?
The pinball table?
That's not a bad choice, to be honest with you.
It is.
It's very confusing knowing when you're actually playing the arcade part and when you're actually playing the pinball part. It's all very confusing. I don't know what I'm doing, and I get frustrated and move on. Maybe if I spent a little more time on it, I could figure it out.
Yeah.
But
I think that it is, at the same time, the worst version of Pac-Man to ever grace the arcades, of proper Pac-Man, and also maybe the worst pinball table that we have out. And then you put them together to make too much of either, but not enough of either.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's kind of how I feel about that.
That's fair. I actually grew up with Baby Pac, so I have a nostalgic feel to it, I guess, much like Featherstone and Killer Instinct. Ugh. But, I did grow up with it. It is a super simplistic pinball table that doesn't have outlanes, so it's really, really easy on the pinball side, and then it is cripplingly hard on the Pac-Man side. So you're playing Baby Pac-Man, which seems to suggest it's Pac-Man for kids, except you don't get power pills. You don't even get exits out the side of the screen. Those are locked off. You get to go down to the pinball table and attempt to earn those things, but then what you have... Well, and you also have graphics that aren't on par with the original Pac-Man.
Agreed.
Yeah, the ghosts are one color. They don't have eyes. They look very rudimentary. But the AI is unlike any other Pac-Man game I've ever seen, where the ghost can change direction at the drop of a hat and frequently will. So they are perfect zoning machines. You cannot, you will not see a task robot like one crediting going forever in this game, because they're simply zoning you out and killing you. That's it.
Yep, pretty
much. I remember
much.
Corey saying something about how it has the same hardware as regular Pac-Man, and the reason that it is not as robust of a Pac-Man game as regular Pac-Man is because a lot of the computational processes and memory has to go towards controlling the pinball table.
Understandable.
You just have less horsepower
sense
to work with to make a good Pac-Man game. And I like the idea of it. I don't like the game.
Yes, I agreed. I definitely agree on that.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think the only reason we keep it on the floor is just to give Beltran something that he can pretend he's a champion at. He is our Baby Pac champion. He's got the top score on that. No, I'm kidding with you a little.
I believe we have a long play video of Beltran playing Pac-Land.
We do.
Is that up?
Yeah,
it's up.
Indeed,
all right.
is.
So maybe there's a link to it over yonder.
Yeah.
Or maybe
you
down there. You
Apparently,
can
it's up
click
there.
at our channel and find the link that way under videos.
Pac-Land, I think, is a much better game than Baby Pac.
I like Pac-Land a lot more than I might.
I even have an affinity for Baby Pac. And the other thing that Baby Pac did for me is it actually taught me about the spin of a pinball.
Intriguing.
Because there are no outlanes, so you can't lose it going side to side. So it quickly teaches you shoot side to side. but it also has you shooting at the middle. So you shoot to the side, right? And if you shoot a backhand shot, the ball is spinning in the wrong direction, and it comes and it drains down the center. And that's virtually the only way you can lose the ball in Baby Pac-Man. So as a little kid, it was teaching me how to identify the spin of a pinball, kind of with its own inability of game design, its own lack of game design. There's only spin on the pinball.
Have you noticed how heavy that cabinet is when you try to tilt? It's a heavy cabinet.
That's
I
true
would
too.
imagine
Well,
it would be.
It's a pinball machine with a CRT
Exactly.
inside it. So yeah, it is quite the beast. I don't even know if there is a tilt sensor because there doesn't need to be a
why
tilt
would you
sensor.
bother?
Right. Unless you're Lou Ferrigno circa 1976, you're not moving that bad boy.
That guy. He can move it.
He can do it. We believe in him. I saw this video on ESPN Classic of him doing the World's Strongest Man competition.
Awesome.
All right. So, Chris, what other things do you not like?
Are we low on time? Should we kill it now?
I don't know.
No, they're
guess
telling me
not.
I should keep going. All right. I didn't want to go here.
More
but
killer instinct.
Oh, we're going
it's
there.
more kill. No, it's Dr. Mario. I've definitely mentioned it before. I know it's a game that a lot of people have an affinity for, and it's a game that I have done a long play for in this video series. So you can check back out to see me and Gabby play it.
How far did you guys get? Or just
I think we played each of the individual levels all the way up to 10. We just kept, like, no matter what we did, we'd finish the game versus, and then we'd go to the next level, and we'd go to the next level, and we'd go to the next level.
cool.
Now, I will admit, even though I do like Dr. Mario, I will say that nostalgia plays a huge factor onto why I like it, and that kind of clouds my judgment. I think I would be able to judge it more fairly if nostalgia did not play a role. Because I played it more on... Which one came first, the arcade, or was it the... on
I
NES?
believe
on
NES.
Game Boy before NES.
Game
Boy,
That's
that's
all
what
I
it
can
was.
tell you
I
about
think
the...
Game Boy is the
Okay.
original version.
So, call me crazy,
So it's
but
single color.
was the Game Boy version easier than the arcade?
I
I think
don't
they're
know.
pretty much the exact same.
I'm
Okay,
not
because
really-
I feel like the arcade version is harder, but maybe that's just my weird nostalgia factor kicking
Well,
in.
the arcade version, there wasn't a dedicated arcade cab. We have a custom dedicated arcade cab for Versus Dr. Mario.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been at Free Play Richardson for a long, long time. It's actually beautiful. The artwork
It
is
is.
great. The motif, it's Dr. Mario. I don't know where he got his doctorate, but I want them to investigate immediately.
I want to get a doctor just by like throwing medicine, just randomly here.
Yeah.
I
Take this.
feel like maybe he's not operating with the proper license.
Yeah, agreed. Completely agreed. But I really can only compare it to other puzzle games. Like is Dr. Mario the worst game I've ever seen? Not at all. I'm a fan of puzzle games in general, and here's my thing with Dr. Mario. I cannot think of a worse puzzle game.
I can. And this
Is it
really...
Landmaker?
Yes.
Oh, I gotta hear
Yeah.
this now.
Wait. Was it Landmaker? Whatever the one that we tried to play where the second player went over to the first player's side.
Okay, so one that's actually working as it was designed.
Games that are just broken
Right.
are
But that was an
really-
issue with the board itself. So
I expect it to be.
And even then, I had more fun playing that on Jason Palmer's side of the screen than I did playing Dr. Mario, which is boring. The game is slow. It's pedantic. There's two colors. Three now. Okay, awesome. I find it like the way the viruses sort of stay suspended in air gets oddly confusing. I'm sure I could teach myself the system if I wanted to dedicate 150 hours to Dr. Mario. I absolutely don't. It's not what I want from an arcade game, which is simple to approach, easy to learn, and then you master it as you go along. No, this one's crazy right at the beginning where it's just like I don't understand what am I doing here. It's a match 4, so I get that, but I don't understand how things fall down. When I played against Gabby, it was strange because I was approached to do the long play with Gabby, and I very much appreciate somebody liking a game. If you like Dr. Mario and you want to play with me, then I'm going to play with you and try and have a good time with you, because arcade games are about local multiplayer, and that's good no matter what. I can play a game with
yeah,
you,
for
Stephanie,
sure.
and enjoy myself.
It's my favorite arcade game.
Oh, it's Matt's favorite arcade game. Nice. I heard it was Gabby's as well. Is that right?
One of our top. Yeah.
Okay, so
It's
it's
a
one
fun
of
game,
one of
in my
Gabby's
opinion.
favorite games. She long plays with me, and I swear, in the middle of that, like you could see her getting frustrated with Dr. Mario.
I'm not gonna lie, it's very difficult.
So
but it's fun.
My experience with the game, the thing that I think about most, I think, of Dr. Mario is the commercial where they're singing the I saw the witch doctor, he told me what to do song.
Oh yeah.
And I think that the only reason that I like that game is because I liked that commercial. But I like that game. I don't think it's a good game. I like it a lot.
I don't know how to compare it to any non-puzzle game either. Like,
it's not comparable. It's just simply a match the colors puzzle game.
Right.
And
definitely my least favorite match the colors, or least favorite puzzle game ever. I just can't. Nothing even because I love puzzle games. I love Tetris. I love Columns.
Magical Drop 3.
I love Magical Drop. Super Puzzle Fighter 2.
Oh, I'm so bad at Super Puzzle Fighter.
Landmaker left something to be desired, but
it is fun though. Yeah.
It had some interesting elements. Mr. Driller.
That was so fun. We need to run that again at some point.
Yeah. And maybe it's just an embarrassment of how good the puzzle genre is that I don't like Dr. Mario. Probably irks me that they're just shoehorning in Mario to pass the game off. But, Super Mario 2, Doki Doki Panic did a little bit of that as well. So, not the first time Nintendo did that.
Oh, no.
I don't know. That's what I got for you. Anybody else have some games they want to throw shade at? Come on, Corey owns them all.
Just about.
Maybe some hate for Donkey Kong? Nah.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Donkey Kong Jr., but I don't hate it.
I feel the same way.
There's a lot of games that I'm like, why would I ever play this game? There's a game that's so much better. And one of those is Centipede. Why would I play Centipede when I can play Millipede?
See, I've never played Millipede.
I know.
Don't tell Ben.
Like, Millipede is the exact same starting point,
and
they throw in a whole bunch of new crazy insects. There's mosquitoes that zip around. There's just more things in Millipede. You got DDT bombs, which really rates in time when that game was coming out, because by the time that I was in elementary school, DDT was known to make eggs fragile, and so birds would kill them. And I think it causes cancer or something.
What doesn't cause cancer
DDT
nowadays?
is not a good pesticide. It's unsafe to use. Whatever.
Dr. Mario uses them in those capsules, though, where he kills the viruses.
Probably. Yeah. He's not a very good doctor.
Well,
I think that Millipede is a grand, wonderful video game. The Centipede is not as fun as Millipede.
Right.
I don't hate it. I don't hate Centipede. I think it's a great starting point, right? But the sequel that came out a year later is just so much better.
I would love to talk to Ben again and see
Likewise.
what his thoughts are on
He may
Centipede
completely
versus
disagree with
Millipede.
me because he was the Centipede player.
No, Millipede.
Oh, that's great.
Millipede's his game, yeah. He can play Centipede very, very well at a world-class level.
We have Millipede, and I would love to get him to play it and record it and hear his thoughts on both.
I feel like this discussion is very similar to like the Pac-Man versus Mrs. Pac-Man debate. Like
Yes,
a lot of people
agree.
really like Mrs. Pac-Man,
Yeah,
even though it was the second one.
I think Mrs. Pac-Man is a flawless masterpiece.
I like
think
it. It's a lot of
Pac-Man
fun.
is a fine game.
Exactly, and I'm with you on both. And in fact, I
Miss Pac-Man
feel
with speed.
yes, agreed. I feel that Pac-Man and Centipede both share that same area in my mind, where it's like I have legitimate nostalgia for the sights of those games and the sounds of the whenever the mushrooms are respawning or whatever it is. Those are one of the most iconic sounds of the classic arcade era.
The one-up that you could hear all around the arcade, because the volume was turned down on like most of the sound effects in Centipede, but the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yes.
Like I would hear that from across the arcade playing skee ball, and I vividly remember that sound effect.
Right, so I have some sort of affinity for Centipede just being in the background. Never actually played it. Never played Millipede either, so I'm going to get on it because it's the monthly this month, Centipede. We got to put in some scores.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so that's the games that we hate, but we don't really hate, or we kind of hate. But in the case of Killer Instinct, I hate that game.
I hate Primal Rage.
Come at me.
I don't hate any games, but there's definitely some where I'm like, I can't approach this, and I've talked about it, and I go have fun with games that I really, really like.
Well, feel free 2-play. Are we good? Can we? Okay. Feel free to play any of those games at any of the free play locations. Tell us if we're wrong in the comments. Tell us if we're right in the comments.
If you say Chief Thunder's not racist, then you're wrong.
And if you haven't played them, definitely go to free play and make up your own opinion on it.
Yeah, play those games.
That's the best way to make your own decision on it.
Yeah, play those games at all the free play locations. Play some other actual good games that we can all agree are great, like Ms. Pac-Man with the speed up chip. And when you're not at free play, go play Borderlands 3 because that game's awesome too. But until then, I want to thank you for joining us. This is Chris Delp for Stephanie and Arthur. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon that we keep hearing about.
And
Love
we'll
you
see
guys.
you later.
Bye.